The world has ended before. Not in fire, not in silence, but in a blinding flash that changed humanity forever. In 1945, a single bomb erased a city, then another. And in that moment, the nuclear age was born. For decades, we lived under its shadow. We feared it, we studied it, we survived it. But today, something has changed. The rules are breaking, the weapons are evolving, and the question we can no longer ignore is this: are we already living in the third nuclear age?
July 16, 1945. In the deserts of New Mexico, humanity crossed a line it could never return from. The Trinity test was more than an experiment. It was the beginning of a new kind of power, one capable of destroying civilization itself. Less than a month later, that power was unleashed on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Two cities, hundreds of thousands of lives, gone in seconds. Nuclear weapons were no longer theoretical. They were real, and they were unstoppable.
At first, only one nation held this power. But in 1949, everything changed. The Soviet Union detonated its first atomic bomb. The monopoly was over. What followed was not peace, but a new kind of war. A war fought not on battlefields, but through fear. This was the Cold War. And at its core was a terrifying idea: mutually assured destruction. If one side launched, the other would respond, and both would be destroyed.
October 1962. The world came closer to nuclear war than ever before. Soviet missiles were discovered in Cuba, just 90 miles from the United States. For 13 days, the world held its breath. One wrong move, one misunderstanding, could have triggered global annihilation. It didn't. But the lesson was clear. Nuclear war was not impossible. It was one decision away.
After coming so close to destruction, the world tried to build safeguards. Agreements were signed. Limits were set. The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty aimed to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. The Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty preserved balance by limiting defenses. And later, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty eliminated entire categories of missiles. These weren't solutions, but they were restraints. And for a time, they worked. In 1991, the Cold War ended. The Soviet Union collapsed. The world breathed a sigh of relief. Nuclear war seemed less likely. Many believed the danger had passed. But in reality, it had only changed.
The second nuclear age was not about two superpowers. It was about many. In 1998, India and Pakistan tested nuclear weapons, turning South Asia into a nuclear flashpoint. Elsewhere, nations pursued nuclear capabilities quietly or denied them entirely. The balance of terror was no longer global, it was regional and far more unpredictable.
Then came a new kind of nuclear player: smaller states, isolated regimes. Nations like North Korea developed nuclear weapons not just for defense, but for survival and influence. The old rules didn't apply anymore. Deterrence was becoming harder to predict. And then the world changed again. Not with an explosion, but with technology. Hypersonic missiles that move faster than sound. Cyber attacks that can disable entire systems. Artificial intelligence capable of making decisions faster than humans. This is not the Cold War anymore. This is something new. The agreements that once kept the peace are weakening. Some have collapsed entirely. Without them, there are fewer limits, fewer safeguards, fewer second chances. And as trust disappears, risk takes its place. This is the third nuclear age, not defined by two superpowers, but by many. Not governed by clear rules, but shaped by uncertainty. Not stable, but fragile. In this new era, The greatest danger may not be deliberate war, but miscalculation, a mistake, a system failure, a decision made too fast to undo.
For decades, nuclear weapons have not been used, not because they disappeared, but because we feared them. Today, that fear is fading, and that may be the greatest danger of all. Because the third nuclear age does not announce itself with sirens. It arrives quietly, in technology, in politics, in silence. The question is no longer whether nuclear weapons will shape our future. The question is, will we act before that future is decided for us?